Hello, everyone. Thank you for tuning in to LG Runs Wild. I'm your host, De Young Buck. With us today, we have returning Slow Gazelle,
How's it going, fellas?
and also with us, we have Tiny Fish Chacha.
What up, guys?
As you all know, Tiny Fish Chacha is Vatty. It's always good to see the same faces around, though. You guys having a good time?
Yeah.
Yeah, not too bad.
I mean,
I mean, I
so
get to stare at Gazelle, right? Like his feather duster is just. Oh,
first off, I hope my audio is a lot better than last week. I'm sorry, guys, for everyone who tuned in and had to crank their audio for me, and then had their ears blared out because their audio was super high. So that's on me. Learning curve, still learning everything. So hopefully, audio is good this time. Um, Stanley Cup Finals. It's game one was on Wednesday. Game two, I believe, is tonight. They had 2 days off. First game, Colorado winning in OT. Did you guys catch the game?
Nope, I did not. If I remember, I think I had baseball, kids baseball games. We had like three games a day, back to back to
Oof.
back. So by the time I got home, it was pretty much over. Won an OT, I think. Colorado did, right?
Yeah, so it was like Burakovsky scored like a minute and 40 or something into OT. That was pretty good game.
Nice.
That
nah, I didn't catch it. I went to go turn it on overtime and started watching Modern Family on some way or another. So yeah,
yeah, no. I tuned in. I think like 6 minutes left into the second. Watched second, third. Got to see Tampa come back, um, and then Colorado just ended it really quick. And I was like, wow. I legit was like, damn, I gotta go pee. I ran to the bathroom. I came back. There was 18 seconds already into OT, and I was like, damn. And then it was over like a minute later. I was like, glad I went and like didn't hold it or wait. Like, could have been a lot worse. Would have missed the goal. So that's season 42. We're about to start CHL on Sunday tomorrow. Um, Vatty, you had to go through bidding as a manager, and as everybody's, we talked about it briefly, is the talent pool for this season really sucked. Can you just like, as a manager's perspective, like, how difficult was it to really be in bidding, do bidding this season? Because like I know it's definitely a different monster than most seasons.
I think it was just harder. I mean, it makes it harder on everybody when you don't have the same, 60% of the guys that you have that usually drop to the CHL and are going to be in the bidding pool, right? Like, I think a lot of people's second and third lines are like people that you scouted, which is rare, I think. Since you don't have as many people that are typically in the CHL, um, and you have a lot of new guys. I mean, like it makes it more difficult. Um, Luckily, I did a ton of scouting, and I'm one of those people that doesn't like to take chances on people I don't know. So I mean, I wrote down the guys I liked. I have scouting reports I do. Uh, my team thinks I'm crazy, but I have an entire Excel spreadsheet with like LG stats comparative to NHL 22 stats, and I reference those two very a lot. But I know that like management, like I felt bad for a lot of the newer managers just because like if you weren't comfortable already, it's a whole different animal.
Yeah, like I don't know. I went into it as like a regular player, right, for the first time since well 2 seasons ago. But I'm a skater, and just looking at the pool, like the good players got paid, and then it just like there's a huge drop off from like a lot of the guys that are 4, 5, 6 mil because I think there's a few that are 6 mil. I can't remember. But then it's like a
Yeah.
huge drop off, and like the majority of the contracts are anywhere between like 750 and like 1.75. Like it's not like one guy's like 8 and then there's a bunch of guys at 5. Like it's like no, there's a bunch of guys at like 4 or 5, and then there's a bunch of guys at like 750 to like under 2.
Yeah, I thought it was really funny that like I think in a lot of betting you'd see the guys go for like 750, but if you didn't get your 750 guys that first like 8 hour window, I saw like a ton of people just like I think you saw it like at the end of bidding day two and day three. Day two, especially though, like there were people going to 2.25 that had no business,
Yeah, it was
and
guys
it
who
was
hadn't played games like ever, and it was just like, oh, this guy's got a bid, he must be solid. Let's bid him up. It's like,
yeah,
oh,
it was different. I'm really happy we got out pretty early of bidding. I think I had one of the smallest amount of bid guys on my board. We just knew who we wanted and went after it. So either that means I'm a terrible manager this season and we're not going to make playoffs, which awesome, or or it means I did a really good job.
Cause
So we'll find out.
yeah, Gazelle, your AHL commander, so you got to experience.
Yeah,
Well, you re-signed her first of all, so like you didn't even have to go
yeah,
through bidding, but you got to experience AHL bidding as a staff in the A, like the main
hmm
guy. How hard was it up there? Because realistically, like I'm thinking, like I feel like in this talent pool that we had, personally, I think I could have been a lot higher contract than 4.75. But there's a lot of CHL like just regulars that are up in the A.
yeah. Yeah, well, AHL bidding was pretty quick actually. I
Yeah, it
think
was.
I'm on Stockton, and our team was done with bidding by 9 a.m. Eastern on the second day.
So
So
12
they didn't
hours
even
in.
spend. Yeah, they finished in 12 hours. They only lost three of their bids. Like it was, I've never seen that personally before ever. That was something that amazed me. But I want to say it was about after the 24-hour mark, we only had, I think, 8 bid spots left.
Yeah, something like
And
that.
the reason why I think that was the case is because if you look at all the guys that re-signed in the A, they were the bigger name guys like Fleet God re-signed, right? He would have been an NHL bid. Hands down, he would have been an NHL bid.
Yep.
But like guys like Fleet re-signed, right? There was a bunch of AHL re-signs. So I think everybody had an idea of who they wanted and just stuck to their plan and got their guys.
Yeah, I feel like
Um,
there was a lot of people who resigned just in general in the A. So like
yep.
the numbers weren't as high for bidding because there wasn't as many guys needed to go get.
Right. There was a couple guys that got, overpaid. I'm not going to drop names or anything, but there's a few that got paid a lot more than what they should have. Like I'm pretty sure I saw like a third line left wing get like 4 plus, which was interesting.
Okay.
But yeah, all in all, I think AHL bidding went pretty smooth.
Yeah, because like I was thinking about it too, and it's like we didn't hear a lot of the guys that fell through bidding this season, NHL, AHL, or CHL. Like nobody
No.
fell through bidding because the pool was so like slim. It was just like if you're in it, like you're likely getting a bid.
Yep.
And I think that was a thing that ran across the board. Like
hmm
guys that should have been paid like 5, 6, 7 were getting like 2.7, 3, 3.5. Guys who should have been like 750 suddenly were at 2 mil for no reason. Guys who shouldn't have even been in the AHL. Like I'm hearing a lot of guys are just like, I don't want to play here because 90% of my team is CHL players, and it's like you got to realize like 70% of the AHL this season is CHL players. It's just the way the game is
Well,
this season. Like
here's the thing with that too. I mean, if you've been in LG for the last 10 seasons, everybody comes up through the C. So to say they're CHL players, some of them probably are career. Most of them have played 1 or 2 seasons and were either draft picks or just turned amateurs. So
exactly.
that's an ego thing. And I'll be 100% honest with you. In the AHL, your first and second line guys, the guys you'd expect to have the egos, aren't the ones that do.
Nope.
It's usually the guys that are playing third line that ego like that in my experience. So it's kind of funny when I hear guys say that, and it's like, well, I mean, you're at the same caliber as that player, so are you calling yourself a CHLer? Like, I don't understand.
Yeah.
That whole thing to me is just ridiculous. But people are going to say what they want, and it is what it is. They're entitled to their opinions, but I think there's a lot of the CHL guys that did move up, like a good percentage of them actually can play in A,
Yeah.
whether it be third line or second line. So
They just
there's a
don't want
couple of
to.
them that are, yeah, they just don't want to because they'd rather go shit kick someone in the CHL and go 18 and, 18 and 6 or
Yeah.
20 and 4 rather than go like,
500.
500 or something. Like, it's just an ego thing at that point, in my opinion. But I think that LG as a whole is we're headed in the right direction as far as getting guys into the leagues that they should be playing in.
Yes.
And we're preventing the sandbagging that we saw a lot.
Well, we've put a lot
So
of things in place to prevent that in general too.
yep. So I
Criteria.
think that I think we're headed in the right direction.
Hope so. Hope so. So you're staff. I'm staff. Vatty, you're a manager. This is something that we can kind of all relate on. But like when we talk to our friends about like LG stuff, whether it's LG guys or just like real life guys, like our real life buddies, how hard is it to be like, I can't say certain things, or like, so for Vatty, for example, like you talking to some of your like GM friends who are just like literally just your friends, like just not being able to tell them like trade talks, or like, oh, I have this super sweet deal but I can't tell you what it is, and I want to because like you're my friend, but like it it you know what I mean, and like
Yeah, it's difficult. Especially, when you get excited and you live for it, or you're just,
yeah,
even if you have just every party wants to talk about it, right? Like you're really excited, you think it's gonna put you over.
yeah,
Um, eh, it's really hard. I think I I think it's easier with time. Um, doing this for so long, I think I've just gotten used to being like, all right, there's manager Vaddy and then there's Vaddy in the party, and
yeah,
those two things are way different.
yeah.
Um, I really think though I run it differently than a lot of people do. I like to actually back when I was a manager, when I started managing, someone likened managing to a managerial position in real life.
Okay.
Like kind of like a store manager or manager at your job. I kind of take that seriously because you got 17 people on a roster you got to take care of, make sure that they don't waste 3 hours of their night. Um, so I take it very seriously. I don't know. I just find that you have to put those two things aside. You can't be open about much when you're with
Yeah.
people on the LG side.
Like I like how you brought up like there's manager Vatty and there's party Vatty, because that's kind of how I see it too. It's just like I'll be playing with guys and they're just like, oh guys, you guys gotta filter yourselves now. Buck's in the party. He's the commissioner. Like careful. And it's like I'm playing here. I'm here to have fun. I'm like off duty. Like I just want to have fun, play club with guys. Like if you guys want to go off, go off. Like in my opinion, like but when it comes to like official shit, like LG games, LG parties, LG like discords, like yes, filter yourself because I will hit you with like I will take screenshots and I will do my job because I have a duty to report. Like Gazelle, staff for you because you've been on both sides now, manager and staff. Like you
Mhm.
can kind of give both perspectives.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the so staff stuff like it's not hard for me to leak stuff or anything like that. You got to have integrity when it comes to that stuff. Sometimes it's hard. Like when we got something that's really cool coming down the pike, and you want to tell people about it, but you can't.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah,
but then again, like when they find out and they're like, "What? Like you didn't tell me about this?" Well, no, I couldn't. So that it's like Fatty said. When we're playing club games, I'll be honest, half the time I don't even hear half the shit that's said because I'm watching TikToks or something. 100% honesty, man.
that's what happens when you play
I'm
with
a
Nancy and Cham though. They just don't keep you busy, so you have
yeah.
time to do that.
You should
I
blame
haven't.
me.
Yeah. Honestly,
I'll
I
keep
haven't
you
even.
busy.
Yeah.
I don't think I've even played with Mancy or Sham in over a week. I haven't
Ah.
been playing too much lately, but like I think guys think that staff members go out of their way to look for stuff,
Yeah.
and I can assure you we don't. So I'm not going and looking or checking everything. That's just not what I'm going to do. But management side of things it was the same way. You got a nice trade lined up to grab a couple of your boys or something, or a really good player, and you can't really leak that to anybody either. But I think it's pretty easy to separate yourself as a staff member and a player.
Yeah. Like,
It's
Clocking into work.
what's that?
It's like clocking into work. I mean, seriously.
Yeah.
Like I'm not gonna go slam a beer and smoke a cigarette in front of a customer at work, right? You know what I mean? Like when I'm with the boys, it really,
Yeah.
my demeanor changes quite a bit, and there's just a time to be. There's a time to be. I think is the main thing,
Yeah.
and anyone that really thinks you guys are out there looking for and searching and digging for something is I sincerely think it's hilarious when people. It's just
Like,
it's stupid.
personally, like, my ex roommate, he's my best friend. Like, I've been best friends with him for 20 years. Okay? Like, I've known him forever. He doesn't play LG. Like, he doesn't care about LG. He'll support my streams. And, like, when we lived together, it was funny because, like, I'm staff. I've been staff for almost 2.5 years now, I think. Something like that. But, like, I'd get, like, a PM or I'd get an alert for, like, an action center, like, complaint. And, like, I'd read it and I'd start laughing. And he'd be like, what? What's so funny? And I'll be like, come here, come read this. Like, you don't care, right? Like, it's nice to be able to, like, talk about it to someone who doesn't give a fuck and is just like, oh, that's sick, or oh, that's funny, and, like, that's it. Like,
Yeah,
man, the amount of PMs I get is just like, oh, well, I don't know how to do this. Can you explain it? You explain it. Oh, it didn't work. Can you explain it another way? I gave it to you step by step. Oh, I guess I'll try again later. And it's like, and then he reads that and he's just like, man, you've told him 3 times how to do it. Like, how does he not understand? It's like,
mhm.
well, I'm not wrong. There's a YouTube video on how to use the site, right?
I think so, yeah. Brody.
Like
There's
from like
a
years
Yeah,
ago.
it's like 2016
Yeah,
or something.
yeah.
Like
Yeah.
like the new player information forum, I'm pretty sure is still the same post from like 2014 and like whatever, like, but it works because it's just the basics. Like, here's
No,
how
agreed. I
here's
think it's
how to
funny.
navigate the site, and like here's how to do
Yeah.
this, and like, okay, like I posted last night. I posted like the TC forums, like how TC's gonna work this season, and like I posted it in like every like channel that I know on Discord. I sent it to the TCs, got Brody to PM it to literally every single TC in the league, and I posted it in the forums. And I'm like, it's literally step by step. I gave you the Discord link twice. Like, if you can't figure it out, I'm sorry, but you need a map. Straight up, need a map. It's very step by step. There's screenshots involved, like with arrows and like. So if like if you can't figure it out, like, come on.
It's like how the hell did you turn your Xbox on?
Yeah, did you try turning it off and back on again? Do you
Yeah.
have to do that?
That's
Uh,
funny.
yeah. Uh, but yeah, like, I don't know. I feel like there are times where it is tough, but there's times where it's just like it's super easy to not filter yourself. Like,
Mm.
I guess being around for a long time also has a factor. Like, you know how to filter yourself, you know what to say, what you can't say. Or like you realize you start saying something and you're just like, fuck. And then you cut it off and everyone's just like, what? What? And it's like, I can't say anything else. I shouldn't have been starting it. I feel like Hagrid,
think,
Hagrid from Harry Potter, should not have said that. Should not have said that.
I think
Yeah.
a big thing too is, and I think most people know, but I think there's some that don't. Whenever it involves a team that we're on, like as staff, we have no say
Yeah.
in whatever it is,
hmm
like nothing, right?
Like, we can't even push our own team's trades because it could be viewed as biased. And it's just like,
Yep, exactly.
yeah.
So that's just protecting the integrity of the league with that. So I think a lot of people don't realize that. You see comments like, "Oh, staff does what it wants." Like, no,
Yeah, I got that in a lot of the
no,
NEM finals. They're like, well, Buck's on Portland.
yeah,
He shouldn't be allowed to make decisions. And it's like, you're literally, or no, it wasn't NEM finals. It was WHL finals against Fraser. It was about the time after the game. And it was like, well, the game literally ended at 49 and we have to switch lines. You have the same line. We're not going to be able to search exactly at 50. Like, everyone's got to back out. They got to restart. Like,
yeah.
Yeah.
And
and then tried to call a penalty.
Yeah,
And it's like, well,
stuff.
no, the game is. And I get the being frustrated, like any manager would. It's just like, but no, like the game literally ended at 50, and it's like, well, the game started late. I'm like, yeah, because there's DRs on both issues on both sides. Everyone just kept lagging out before the game started. It was funny.
My least favorite thing about that is as a manager is the managers that don't understand, like aren't understanding when you have an issue, but want that sympathy and empathy
Yeah, they expect the world
when
when
they
it
have
comes
the
to
issue.
them. Yeah,
Yeah.
they expect the world when it comes
Oh,
back to them. Yeah, it makes me laugh for sure.
yeah.
Oh, let's see real quick. Control, yes, I remember playing with you that night. Yeah, that was I was hungover as fucking hell the next
20
day.
beers that night,
Yeah.
Batty. He had 20 beers that night on a stream. It was one of his Friday night streams where he just pounds back beer after beer after beer after beer after beer.
That's amazing.
Gazelle literally has stickers of him doing like on his stream, and it's hilarious.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yep. So yeah, I definitely remember that.
Griggs, we will talk about top 5 worst owner management list another week. Give us time to actually like prepare something.
Oh, jeez, that would take me 5 minutes, Buck.
I mean, I already have it. I mean, to be fair, okay, I have never blocked anybody on Discord until I became the CHL commissioner. I currently have 4 people blocked, and they're going to stay blocked. And I mean, it's the most obvious group. It's Dona, Laugh, Stooley, and Pinnell.
Look,
Like,
I love
they're
personally.
not the worst managers, but I have a blocked list, so that says something.
I'll be honest with you, man. I love Laugh. Laugh in Discord is different than like Laugh in a party.
Oh, 100%. He needs to have an audience, in my opinion.
Yeah,
He likes causing a show.
Yeah, he likes to stir the fucking pot. That's for damn sure.
Yeah.
He's a pot stir.
And yes, no Bishop. I don't need to block Bishop. I'm still waiting on my pizza from Bishop. So is
Nah, that
Gazelle.
guy's-
Like, the customer
Man.
service on this dude, when he got banned, he's like, watch out, someday you're going to have a bunch of pizzas on your doorstep. And it's like, okay, do it. We want our pizza. Like, send us our pizza. Come on, man.
Yeah, have you seen me? Send me some.
Oh man, that
I
guy's
need-
just an idiot.
I need something to eat with my beer.
Right. Yeah.
I actually just had a piece of pepperoni pizza. It was pretty good.
I had Wendy's. So,
Oh,
I still have Wendy's. I still have to eat my poutine. But that's for after the show.
Yeah.
So, I want to shout out to Spider-Ham. So, this week, he posted not only 1 or 2, but 3 pieces of media in, like, the forums for CHL. Basically ranking teams by the amount of hams. So, anything pig-related, animal-related, he was giving a score out of 10. He did WHL. It was a huge hit. Hilarious. If you guys get a chance to check it out, go check it out. It was really good. Good job, Spider. And then everyone was like, do OHL, and he did. And he did OHL. And, like, I think it's absolutely hilarious. Like, it's so random, but you never get media anymore that's just, like, stupidly random like that. It's just like, I'm rating teams on a scale of 1 to 10 based on the number of hams. And it's like, the fuck? That's literally the first thing I said when I saw the title. I was like, rating it on a scale of hams. And I'm like, huh? What?
Do you guys remember? And he got a little out of hand with it. He actually eventually caught a ban for one he did. But do you remember when Wickedly Moist used to do the cartoon sketches?
I know he did one of me, Zero Crash. Like, Zero Crash literally had the picture that Moist drew him on his Discord profile picture for 2 years.
Yeah, that was pretty funny when he would do that.
But Moist drew the wrong person.
Yeah, I
And
guess
it
so.
caused him to eat a ban. And then he second tagged Mr. Meats.
Yeah,
Mr. The Meats.
yeah.
Must.
I mean, his situation was different though, because he moved and everything, so everything was completely different. So he was a little harder to catch when people brought it up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, well.
Interesting. Dude.
So yeah, talking about Spiderham, he also created another thread, and it was more talking about like things to like incentivize managers, how to make the league better. So we're gonna touch on that a bit, and because that's a great topic, and I feel like we talk about it a lot on like every media show. Like Swifty talks about it. Brody and I have gone on Five for Costing. We've talked about it, like how to incentivize managers, how to make players want to move up to play in the other leagues, because like it's a huge topic, and there's no right or wrong answer, but it's something LG is striving towards. And I guess we get to see it a little bit this season, guys moving up with bidding, being so bad. So guys are slowly moving up, and it's what we want. But like, what's a good way to like make it happen and make players want that to happen? Is there like, I have tons of ideas, but I want to hear what you guys got to say.
Well, I think as far as incentivizing people to manage, for one, um, managing is an extreme pain in the ass sometimes.
Yeah.
I'll be 100% honest. I find managing more of a pain in the ass than being a staff member or a commissioner of a league.
Yep.
Um,
I literally use that as my sales pitch for staff. I'm like, you guys that love to manage, I don't get how you do it, because staff is like 10 times easier.
yeah, well, I mean,
Straight up.
trying to retain good managers, like we got to look at things, and LG, for example, we've got what's that called again? We got premium,
Yes.
um, like something like that. Like hey, if you manage 2 seasons in a row, you get free premium, something like that.
Yeah.
Um,
That's something we've been trying to get just for staff. Like the commissioners get free platinum. Like we get the free
Yeah.
plat. But
Yeah.
like this
Well, I don't.
the DC, yeah, well you don't have the commissioner role. You have AHL DC, but
Yeah,
like the actual like dark orange roll, like the red rolls, they come, I'm pretty sure, with platinum. It would be huge if we could be like, we appreciate the time that you're giving back to the league, one being staff or manager, because God, we all know managers probably put in more work on the site than staff do,
hmm
because there's just so much more requirements as a manager to do your
Yep.
job. So like it'd
Yeah.
be sick if we could here's free platinum, thank you for being an owner, like
Yeah, exactly. Just something small like that, would I think would be pretty cool. Uh, and I mean, aside from that, like, there's not really much more that, like, as staff that we could give. Um, sometimes like you'll see guys get free codes to games. Like,
yes,
yeah, that would be a cool thing, but like, is it possible for Brody to get a bunch of codes? Because at that
yeah,
point you've got what, 32 NHL teams, so you got the owner, the GM,
yeah, you
AGMs,
got
like 32
96 per
teams. Like,
console
exactly. So like
max, yeah.
that's something like that's not realistic, but would it be cool if there's like a drawing or something? Sure. Um, but you never know if that's a possibility or not.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, I think the biggest thing for me, like if I was to manage ever again, which I will not,
Yeah, I won't either.
like I plan on I'll be sticking around staff for quite some time, but like if I were ever to manage again, like the biggest thing for that is that you get to control your destiny that season.
Yeah.
You see countless times, especially you'll see it a lot in the NHL. Guys will complain about where they went. It's like, well, if you don't like where you went, manage. You get to pick,
That's a
right?
huge thing. And
Yeah,
Vatty can touch on that for sure.
Yeah. I have a lot to say. Finish your thought first.
Okay.
yeah. I mean, that's pretty much where I was going with it. Was it's not like so much of like us incentivizing players to manage, right? Like at the end of the day, I could try and talk someone into doing something. Are they going to? Probably not,
Yeah.
right? Like,
You can't
doubt.
change somebody.
Yeah, if somebody made up their mind, they made up their mind. But I mean, it all comes down to like, do people want to manage anymore? And
Yeah.
we're seeing more and more that they don't,
We're
right?
seeing
And
a lot of brand new guys trying to manage, and like this
yep,
season, man, like yes, I had like 70 applicants for like 42 teams, but normally I get like 25 to 35 returning managers when it's 42 teams. Like that's what it's
Mhm.
been like last season, and like I think I only had like 21, and it was just like, okay, now what? And it was like, okay, I gotta go look, and I'm gonna go ask them again to be like, are you guys sure you don't want to come back? And I went PM'd all the AGMs and the GMs and was like, are you guys interested in owning a team? Like, if your owner isn't returning, you can have your team. You can have a different team. Like, you did help build it, so like you can get those assets. And it was just like, okay, now I've got to filter through test scores and see who's a more experienced manager and who isn't, and who's a brand new guy to LG and who isn't, because I don't want to have 12 teams run by guys that are, 7, 8 games in the
Yeah.
CHL career. And it's just like, well, those have a high chance of being dumpster fires and having like a quarter of the league be a dumpster fire. So like, I went out of my way and was like hitting the media discords and was like, guys, I need owners. Like, guys, I need owners. And then like, that's how I ended up getting Poopy Snoopy, Drags, Wizza. Like, they all got teams because they all were like in the forums. And I was like, guys, apply for owner. And they're just like, really? It's like, please.
Yeah.
Like, it's tough.
I feel like you're gonna get some flack because for what you said, and I just want to back you before you get the flack.
Oh, I don't care if I get flack. You know that.
I just want to say, if you are gonna come and watch this and listen to what that Buck just said and say, well, I wanted to come back, but my stats were too good, or anything above the along those fucking lines,
Yeah.
you're part of the problem. Like I've been in all three leagues, and
Yeah.
yeah, sure, you can shit on me all you want. I really don't care. Throw me in with Snoopy as a manager. I don't care. Seriously, I've heard it all. I literally have. The reason I made it up to the NHL and I made it to the AHL is because of my reputation of running teams.
Yes.
Um, the reason I'm still allowed to manage for multiple reasons, mainly because I can run a team.
Yes.
And because I'm not out of line when I do it, I'm not yelling at people. I'm not discriminating. I'm not hating. I'm actually really really genuinely laid back
Yep.
and pretty chill. I the NHL, what I think needs to happen is you need guys like Sweet Lou, and you need guys your mainstays, we'll call them.
Your core guys.
Yeah, your core guys need to be incentivized. So I like the idea that Gazelle had, like do a drawing for every fifth or sixth season as an owner, you get a drawing or whatever as a for the game. Okay, that would
Yeah.
be really cool, right? And then that way, if you do it six seasons straight, then you got like a 1 out of 5 chance because 5 people are probably only going to stay, right? Like at
Yeah.
max to win the game or to win a free game. That'd be cool as hell.
Yeah.
Um, but I think the biggest thing for me, I've made the playoffs in all three leagues, so I'm not like inept. Okay.
Yeah.
Um,
Got carried by Nuge, but it's okay.
yeah, I did get carried by Nuge. Um, you need a core that is gentle and will promote how to run a team correctly and help you get the reputation and help the newer guys get the reputation they deserve. And I'm not saying that Sweet Lou should have mentored me to be a better NHL owner. That's not what I'm saying at all. I'm just saying recognize when you get a guy that's 20-4 in the CHL and he wants to move up to the A and he kills it again. Recognize that and reach out when he gets ownership in the NHL. Reach out, give it a like, give it a winner when the dude applies for ownership.
Yeah.
That's all I'm saying. Like, I think we start small because you're never going to change this
Yeah.
entire community overnight. But I think if we start small and the guys that have been here forever, like even us,
Yeah.
like we just have to promote
Positive
the
community feedback.
league. Yes,
Positive
positivity.
positive community feedback. Like, there's not enough of it. It's so toxic in this community. I mean, NHL just in general is a toxic community.
Yeah.
But
I
LG
I
is
mean,
so toxic.
GWC's was so bad.
It was bad.
Look at the chat box. Look at the chat box on Twitch.
Yeah,
It's disgusting.
it's bad. I
Seriously.
mean, look at the comments on social media when NHL or TSN or ESPN post literally clips from GWC. And it's like, these guys aren't athletes, blah, blah, blah. I make more money sitting at home and doing my stuff. It's like, who cares? These guys are 17. They have a chance to win like 20K. Why are you upset at a 17-year-old for doing something he likes?
And I think it's we see it differently too
Yeah,
than some people because we're older, right? We've been around so long.
yeah.
But I really do think that like the core and the mainstay guys in each league need to, and I think it would help be helpful if the commissioners or like Boggs got together and just like picked a few guys to be mentors.
Yep.
Maybe the mentorship program would be really cool that we could incentivize.
Yep. That's
Um,
what Facetti's trying to
that
work on with WJC. It's a tough thing to get involved, but we're working with WJC to try and get that ball rolling.
it is hard. I think it's harder for WJC, and I could see that being like an issue because of the managers he had this season.
Yeah.
Like other than Danky, and some of the other ones, a lot of them were rough. Maybe what we should do in the future is like pick the owners that didn't get ownership, or the guys who went for ownership that didn't get it that season. Go back to them and see if they don't want to do WJC, or open up with that when you respond to their application.
Yeah.
Um, I think small changes need to happen, but I think all in all, I don't want to shit on the league, right?
No.
Because like you guys are doing great work, and there's a reason that I've talked to Buck about how this is the last 3, 4 seasons I've been here. This is my favorite, most fun I've had in LG ever.
I
Um,
try.
and like when you have guys that try and that wake up every morning and want to do what's best for other people, this
that
is what you get.
that's
This is why people want to return to the CHL all the time.
yeah.
And I think Azell is going to do the same thing in the A.
Yes, he is.
I've seen guys, I got a guy on my team right now that's going to get called up next week. I'm not saying who, because,
It's gonna happen
yeah.
regardless, and you'll see it anyways.
Yeah.
But
Yeah. Um, but I got people that want to move up, and that's good. And you know what I said? Crazy, right? The manager hit me up, and I said, "When do you need him this week? Because I know you can't call up DPS until week 2."
yeah,
And we cordially had a conversation about how he was going to get called up, and that was okay. I'm not freaking the fuck out.
see,
Yeah,
like
like
a lot of
promote
managers, yeah,
progression.
yeah, a lot of CHL managers are like, no, they called up my guy, and it's like you guys gotta realize that is a good thing, right? Like that's them being told they are good enough to play in a higher league. I get it's frustrating for you as a manager, but your job as a manager is to manage all of your assets. That includes your training
Yep.
camp. If you know you have good players that are call up eligible, you best bet you should be, stacking your TC. Because if you make playoffs, you are fucked if you have a ton of RAVs. Sure, they're great players, but as soon as you get to playoffs, you're fucked.
Yeah.
Yes.
What was it? Season 35 in London, and our team was good. Our team was really good, but we also had the Kitchener Rangers, who was run by Loki at that time.
Loki,
They were very fucking good. And then Windsor, that was Aeon Clutch and Ron and Cav that ran that
I was
team.
gonna say
Those
Cav is
guys
in
were
that
Yeah,
dynasty.
those guys were really good too. And we knew that we had guys we were going to lose eventually because we had guys putting up the same numbers that their teams were. Um, Luckily, our largest asset at the time was a prospect, put up 99 points that season, so he
Yeah,
was protected. We had a good mix of prospect, amateur, vets. This is back when there was no
that's
protections
what I was gonna.
like
Yeah,
now.
I was gonna say. Yeah,
So we knew that if there was some bans or call ups, like we were probably going to be one of the teams hit. And so what we did, this is also back when you could skew the TC RA
yeah,
system.
yeah,
We played with our TCs a lot, and we found the ones that we wanted to keep. We found the ones we didn't. We traded off the ones we didn't,
yep.
and then bam, we'd get a new RA. And so I think it was just before like right about the call up deadline, we lost two guys, right? We called up two to fill in, and they did great on the third line. Actually, they ended up winning more than our third line previously did. So, and then the
Funny how that
week
works.
going into playoffs, we lost two more.
See, I think
And it was
that's the worst is
dang,
when you're
you know?
going into playoffs and your roster is set and you're like,
Yep.
yes, I got this. And then it's just like, hey, it's just like, ha, just kidding.
Yeah, but here's the thing, every time, and I applaud these guys for doing that because this is something a lot of HL managers don't do. They actually all reached out to me and said, "Hey, we're probably going to take this guy." And my response to them was like, "Hey, you're getting a good player, you know." And they're always like, "Well, you're not pissed?" It's like, well, I mean, my guys are moving up. I know they want to move up. I'm not mad about it. It is what it is. You're not targeting me just to ruin my team. You're trying to improve just like we try to improve. And a lot of people don't think about that. Like when you take CHL management, your goal should be to build a great team, obviously, and to get guys ready for the AHL
Yeah,
or the NHL and to help them move up. Like the goal is not, hey, you're going to stay stuck down here in the CHL forever.
no,
That's not the goal. The goal is for everyone to get into the league that their skills best suited for.
100%.
So I understand it's frustrating when you lose guys. I've been there multiple times, so I get it. But at the end of the day, when you've got a good player like that, it reflects what you did with them because they don't all come in great like that, right? It just depends. A lot of it depends on who they play with and play styles, like finding guys who mesh well together. You know, certain guys like that 99 point guy I mentioned, he signed up as a goalie,
Oh boy.
and we played like I knew him before, and I went out and I traded for him, and I talked to him, and I said, "Hey, you're switching to forward." And he said, "Why is that?" And I said, "Dude, like you will be fine playing forward in this league." And
Yeah.
he said, "Okay, I'll do it." He said, "What position do you want me to play?" I said, "Center's dead. I want you to play center if you can." And he said, "Okay." Play center, puts up 99 points,
Yep.
and he just won a Calder last season, so or 2 seasons ago.
Nice.
I mean, that stuff like that's cool to see. So, um,
That's what happens though when you work with your players and that's what
Hmm.
you want with the league. Like a lot of people are just like a few seasons ago they're just like Buck, like who are your like top managers when it comes to like developing players and just being a good manager. And I was like, we got guys like Edgar, we got guys like Plymmy, guys like Vatty, and everyone's like, Vatty? What do you mean Vatty? I'm like, Vatty's still around. Vatty's managed at all three tiers. He's made playoffs in all three tiers. He knows what he's doing. Sure, he might not have teams that are, go and win the presidents every season, but he brings in new guys every season. He's always having like no issues when it comes to positivity. Like he doesn't go out there and just like, this guy's fantastic, but he's toxic as fuck, and I'm still gonna go get him. And it's like, no, he's gonna, avoid the toxic fucker and, get a guy who wants to have fun and play and, win as a team, lose as a team. You know, that's what you want to promote.
Yeah.
Everyone's like, why did you pick Snoopy? Snoopy's a horrible manager. And it's like, you guys don't get it. Snoopy doesn't quit. Snoopy's could go like 0-72, and he will not quit. He'll field a team every game. He'll throw a bitch fit about it. I mean, anyone would. But like, yes, he's difficult to trade with. Yes, he's causes headaches. Like, I've known Snoopy forever. He's always been like that. He's never gonna change. He's the older generation. Like he's in his, I think, late 40s, early 50s. He's up there in age. Like he's set in his ways.
Yeah.
He does his things his way. And if you don't like it, too bad. He doesn't lose a night. Like he doesn't bat an eye over it. Like he doesn't lose any sleep over it. He just enjoys being a manager and doing stuff in the league. Like he reaches out every season. Hey, do you need managers? And I'm like, some season I'm like, nah, I'm good. And he's like, okay. And then he's like, I'll see you next season. And then I see him in the chat box, and it'll be like, Snoopy has signed up for season whatever, and then he quotes it like 2 seconds later, and it's like, apply for owner. And he's like, okay, and then he applies. Like he didn't even fill out an application this year. He just like said, sign me up, and I was like, perfect, thanks Snoopy. Like you're almost guaranteed a team. Just do the test.
He's honestly a great guy. God damn it, dude's annoying, right? Like, seriously. Me and Snoop have had trade talks through all three tiers of leagues, and he is one of the hardest dudes to trade with. But
100%.
that says something because he's always trying to improve, not trying to go get his buddies. You have to take those things into consideration when you like, oh, the guy's hard to train with. Oh, he never talks in the shout box. Oh, he never talks in manager chat. Well, have you ever thought that like the guys like me, seriously, we don't have a huge friend group, so we have to go out and like find the talent.
Yeah.
And we seriously, it's harder than it looks. Like, the, I'm not a great player. I'm no Polish Blues from SSM last season. I'm not. I'm not Latvinka. My buddy's not specification. Okay. Um.
Yeah.
I don't have great friends that are have rocket thumbs. Okay. Like. Um. But you have to keep that in consideration and like applaud those guys that do well or
Yeah.
are new and find those new guys.
Like,
And don't always say, "Oh, they're a second tag." Oh, okay. Listen, there are people born every day. So in 14 years, when they grow thumbs and like Xbox, they might play NHL and be good. Holy crap, that's
yeah.
a crazy thought.
But like, I think about Snoopy too. Is like, yes, he's difficult, but like you said, he's genuine. Like he cares, and you know what? Like, at the end of the day, that's what you want. You want guys who care running teams in your league.
Yep.
And yes, I get it. I could have picked another guy who isn't gonna have a horrible season, but Snoopy has, for example, I'm using him again as an example, but like, yes, he's never really had huge success alone as a player or as a manager, but I think out of all the, like, I've known Snoopy since I've started at LG. It is like in the 8 years I've known him, I think I could count on one hand how many times he's forfeited a game. In 8 years, I can count on one hand. Like, that says something. Like, the guy, he cares. He's not, like I said, doesn't have the thumbs, but he can build teams. Not great teams, but he can build teams that can compete still. And nobody gives him credit. They're just like, oh, it's Snoopy. I can't stand the guy. It's like, okay, you don't have to, but he's there anyways. Like, if you don't want to talk to him, don't talk to him. There's a block button.
Yeah.
You can just ignore him.
Seriously, it's easy. It's easy to avoid people, but and I want to put a tidbit out there too because I actually this is an LG sanctioned podcast, but I manage in this other league. And it's way different.
Yeah.
And the toxicity is so much worse there than it is here. So I don't want to say that LG's terrible at that, right?
No.
What I'm trying to say is I always want to improve. Like that's my big thing, right? Ever since, you know, I changed my shit and grew up. Like, people want to improve. So when you're trying to like shit on somebody and and I don't take your shit. Don't take it personal. I'm just,
Yeah.
what I'm trying to say, I guess, all in all, is that like we should all try to improve, and we should all want our friends to go up into the NHL,
Yeah.
and we should all want to go with them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's thanks
And,
Laugh for the sub. Just want to say thank you.
yeah,
Oh, there's Laugh Daddy right there, huh?
Speaking of, did you catch the part earlier where we actually did talk about you? Because yeah, we talked about you for a bit. But no, realistically, like going back to just like incentivizing guys, it's like I find it great that like I've I've been in the CHL since the end of 37, season 37. I've slowly, everyone's just like, wow, like you interact in the manager's chat, you're in the discords, you're in the media chats, like you're just chatting all the time. Like, why? Like, you're the commish, like you have things to do. It's like, wouldn't you rather want a commissioner that's active, who's replying to you, that's open all the time and always like, I'm one of the guys. Like, that's literally even what this podcast is about. It's like just chatting as one of the guys, having a couple beers, having
Yeah.
fun. I feel like that's more beneficial for the league if you have a guy that's always around that talks and cares about the league, because you can see that he cares if he's getting to know his managers. Like every season, yes, I troll. I'm one of the biggest trolls. Don't get me wrong. My shirt the shirt I'm wearing right now says, "You think I'm sarcastic? You should hear what I don't say," because that's literally me in a nutshell. Like, I I screw around and like I like to have fun. But at the end of the day, I care about my league and I run my league, and
Mhm.
I get a lot of flack, as anybody on staff does, because you do one change, half the community is upset, half the community loves you, and it's always going to be like that. But I feel like in like my 5 seasons now as commish, like there's so much that we've made, not just for the CHL better, but like LG as a whole. Like we're forcing guys up. We maxed out CHL games. Now you can be a veteran just by playing in the CHL for so long. Like 120 games, bang, you're a veteran. Like there's no you can play in the CHL forever and you're going to be an amateur. Like no, like you've been around long enough, you should be a vet. Um, Stuff like adding protections, that was a huge thing. Everyone was like, I don't know if this is going to work. The AHL is not going to follow along. It's like AHL's got no choice. Yes,
Yeah.
the CHL is a feeder league. Yes, it is the development league, but it's meant as that. Yes, you can protect up to 4 guys, but you can also resign up to 4. That's why when Pliny offered that whole, he did it in the change committee. He was like, "What if we did like a pool of 6?" And I was like, "That's brilliant. Max it out at 4. You can do 4 protections for or 2 resigns, or 4 resigns and 2 protections. You control your team." Guys like Vadi, not Vadi, Snoopy this season, he didn't resign anyone. I think he protected a few, but like, you don't have to resign a team. Like, if you don't want to, if your team was trash season before, why did you resign if you're a new owner? Or if you're a returning owner and you want to resign your core guys, you can resign them and protect them for the following season. The AHL can't call them up unless that player wants to be called up. The player gets the choice, not the manager.
Yeah,
And
and
Well,
that should be
one thing a
how it
lot of
is.
people don't know too is that like you can get over your protection and still go up.
exactly, so like, it's at the end of the day, it's player's choice. If your CHL manager comes up to you and is like, "Hey, we'd like to put you on the protection list for season 42. It's over now." What that means is you're gonna get a status on your profile that says vacation status. If you go to the roster page, it looks like a palm tree. That's fantastic. It's also like that in the AHL, so you're gonna get it on both levels. All that means is that if the AHL wants to call you up, they have to send a message to the staff at both levels, AHL and CHL, your CHL managers, and yourself, asking you if you want to be called up. All you have to say is yes or no. If you want to be called up, fantastic. You go up to the AHL and or NHL. If the CHL, like if you don't want to and you want to stay in the CHL, you have every right to just be like, "Nah, I'm good. I want to stay here."
Yep.
So I'm going to use, I guess they're Victoria now. They were Saginaw last season. Sam Squanch and all those guys, Ledvinka and Speck. They re-signed 3 guys, their main guys, and I think they protected all 3 of them. Why? Because they're returning managers. They found a core that they really like, and they protected them.
Mhm.
Now you're guaranteed to have 6 guys carried over the next season. Yes, a slight increase in cap, but you have your top players pretty much, your first line, for a lot cheaper than they would have been in bidding. Like, oh, Snoopy's in the chat. Dom the worst, the young buck. Don't talk about me. Sorry, Snoopy, but we love you on this show.
Yeah, I think the addition of protections to the CHL was great. Um, like I said, I talked earlier about the team I had that like there's a lot of guys we would have protected there if we had that, and we wouldn't have gone through what we did. But um, at the end of the day, I think the protections is brilliant. Works perfect. That way you can maintain your core, and the player still maintains the right to move up if they choose to.
Yeah.
And a lot of managers think that the player shouldn't, and I'll always disagree with that.
Yeah.
I always back the managers 100% anytime something's happening, but you got to remember, like, you can't strip a player of their rights. And it's their right to move up if they're good enough and someone wants to give them a shot. They'll get out of that protection. That's what's going to happen at the end of the day. But that's something I'd like to see. I guess it's like a little bit of a spoiler I can talk about, which is it's public knowledge for the most part. But something that I've been pushing for and I'll continue to push for is separation of the AHL from the NHL.
Yeah.
And at that point, if that happens, the AHL is going to get protections as well, just like the CHL does. And what would happen if that ended up going through would be, NHL does their bidding, AHL does their bidding, CHL does their bidding, and then AHL and CHL are randomly assigned to NHL for TCs.
Yeah. Same way
EHL still
this.
randomly assigned to the AHL. That way, it also prevents the stacking of teams at deadlines in the AHL,
Yes.
because you see that every season. You'll see managers be like, "Wow, they're just getting gifted these send downs. Wow, wow, this is great. Wow." But
Yeah.
that's something that would prevent that. Is it the same as, like, I know this is a simulation league, but sometimes you got to adapt and change to make things better,
Yeah.
which is what you guys did with the protections in the CHL,
And it's
right?
slowly getting better. And like
Yep.
the more we've talked about the AHL splitting with the NHL, Brody has been LG McDonald has been more and more open to the idea of it. He's always coming back to us being like, lay it out for me. Give me a step by step plan on what you'd like to do, and if it is possible with Tris and everything, and we all vote on it, it's something we can talk about a little bit further. And it's like
Yep.
we'll get to that. It is a lot of thought process. Like, okay, me, everyone, well, not everyone, but a lot of people know I work at UPS. So during the day, I don't get a lot of phone time, so it's harder for me to answer Discord. It's harder for me to answer site PMs. That's why I hired active and staff that actually care about the league. That's why, yes, I know I get a lot of flack for hiring Crooked, but like you can tell, yes, Crooked only took management because he was a TC player, but like he cares about the league. Crooked cares, and that's why he's on staff, and he's always had a clean record. You got to take that into account. But a lot of my like league thinking, I do it while I'm at work. Because what am I doing at work? I'm sitting in a truck delivering packages. It's very brain dead work. It's scan,
Mila. Yeah.
scan, look at a list, look where I'm driving. But 99% of the time, my thoughts and like major ideas for LG come while I'm at work. And I'm just like, I'll immediately message Brody and be like, dude, I got a sick idea. And he was like, hit me. And then I'll be like, I'll tell you when I get home, or I'll be like, still thinking on it, give me a few hours, and then I'll send it to you. He's like, cool. And then I send it off
Mhm.
to Brody, and then like that's how a lot of the CHL stuff gets done. I thought it was going to be hard to be staff and do my job because staff is still demanding. It's not as hard as managing. I wouldn't be able to do my job and manage. But at the end of the day, I put a lot of effort into it, and I know a lot of people see it, and I get a lot of flack still. But I don't care. I don't take anything personally. Like, yes, you'll see me get defensive, but like that's part of the role as a staff member. It's part of the role as a manager. You defend your players. You defend your league. Like you defend your managers. Like Gazelle said earlier, always take the managers' backs. But there's some times where you're just like, listen, you're in the wrong here. You need to listen and
Mhm.
do what we're telling you to do. So
Yep.
I kind of feel
100%.
like we kind of went off of like the main topic, but like it's things that we all know and care about LG, and like we know there's a lot of room to grow. So
I would
Yeah.
be interested to know. I'm trying to word this correctly. Hold on. Think the CHL and the AHL are spoken for really well. Um, I have heard rumblings that um, everyone's pretty happy with Boggs. Maybe what is there? I don't know. Putting it to a vote would be a terrible idea.
what's that?
But just an overall like survey, like after every game,
Oh, like every
like
season?
3 season.
Oh,
Yeah, I
oh,
would do 3 seasons. I would do
okay.
3 seasons.
Every game cycle is what you're talking about.
Yeah, every
Okay.
game cycle, like just a survey
Rate the
to a
league.
random group of guys, um, and just see what their thoughts are on the way it was commissioned, the way it was handled, just thoughts. Um, because I've heard, I've been through all 3 leagues, right? So I've seen a lot of commissioners, I've seen a lot of balls,
Yeah.
and I think when you got someone that's active and cares, I don't really care about their skill level, right?
No.
But I think you should be in the league or around the league that
Yeah.
you are a part of, and I think that really helps a lot of things, right? Because
Good.
Buck, you have when you're in the role of CHL commissioner and you're in the CHL, you experience the CHL.
Exactly.
Gazelle, same thing with you, especially as a goalie, you're playing more. So I
Mhm.
think that helps a lot of things because you might be in. I know you're not playing 6 games a week last week, but you play with different people,
Mhm.
and I think it helps to have your environment be what you are in charge of, and that's all I'm gonna say.
No, no, I
I
get
think you
that.
get a lot. I think you get a lot better response from people when people are active and want
Well,
to
to
help.
to be fair, like in Shorty's case, Shorty doesn't really have the thumbs. He can play at the CHL level, but he's been in the end like as a commish for a very long time, so he
Mhm.
knows what he's doing. He's also very, very active in the esports scene. But like the thing with Shorty is that it's kind of unfair to him. But everyone expected him to be exactly like Winston Payne when Winston stepped down. I feel like personally, Winston is very much the same type of thought process, mental boat, like the way we do things, very much the same way as Gazelle and I. But Shorty has his way of doing things. You can't expect a person to change the way they are to run the league the way you want them to. And I find it very unfair to Shorty because he does probably the most work out of every staff member on the site, except for Brody and
Yes.
Tris.
Yeah.
Like Shorty
Mhm.
Oh,
puts
I'm
in
not saying Shorty's an
no.
issue either.
I know what you're saying, but like a lot, he gets so much flack, and a lot of people don't like him. But they need to realize that like he's not
You're not
Winston.
gonna like everybody.
He'll never be Winston, and like you just got to deal with the fact that that's the way he does things, and the NHLers just can't stand that, and they're just like,
Well, I'm gonna take a different approach to what you're saying.
okay,
If you don't fucking like it, sign up to be a bog.
Yeah. If you
yeah,
want to make changes, yeah, that's a good way.
Am I wrong though? Seriously, like,
No.
or have more of a say in management by being management and voice your concern.
Hmm.
I've never ever been denied a message back when I message somebody, right?
no,
Like I message Buck every once in a while. I message a Bog every once in a while. Just say, hey, here's my thoughts. Just there
accurate.
you
Hmm.
go.
Yes, you do.
That's it. And I leave it there. And I leave it there. I don't. But I'm also not berating them, and I'm not.
No,
I try to say
I
it in a
think it's like
kind way.
halfway through season 41, we hadn't talked since you're just like, hey, these are my roles for management chat. That was like the start of season 41. And then like week 7 or something, you messaged me. You're just like, I just want to let you know that like I love everything that you do for the league and thank you so much. And like I get that you get a lot of shit. But I
Yeah,
get
and
why you're doing it and thank you. Like you do a fantastic job. And that was it. And I was just like, I sent you a heart back. And I was like, I don't get that. Like a lot of guys don't understand that like staff like we do a lot and it gets unrecognized. We get more beration than like admiration, and
it's a thankless position.
it really is. And I give kudos to everyone who tries it and wants to run it, and the guys that stick around. Like, yes, we all joke around about like, oh, this guy should be fired or this guy does nothing. But like, if they really did nothing, they wouldn't be around. Okay, I'm gonna use Super Roger as an example. Everyone's like, Roger does nothing. The amount of stuff that he does in the off season, though, I don't care how much he really does during the regular season because he does a large part of the off season work. Like
And
everyone
that's
just
a lot of people don't realize how much work goes into the off season. So, to touch on that,
yeah.
um, so as all of you, or I would assume most of you know, obviously I'm the new AHL commissioner now. That happened this off season.
Yeah.
And right away, I worked with Shorty a little bit because I used to help him with FMP and SMP back in the day. So I kind of already like had an idea of Shorty, but that guy puts so much time into this league. Like it's unmatched by many, matched by few.
Oh,
He puts a lot
100%.
of time into it. And so I came in, spent hours with them doing off-season stuff. I mean, one night we were in a call for 4 hours doing
I
stuff.
remember seeing that. I kept going to Discord and I was just like, yo, they're still in the call?
Yeah, and that wasn't just one night. It was multiple times because
Yeah.
there's a lot of stuff that's changed, and getting like the rules updated, all that, and updating contracts manually. Like we
Learning
have,
the tools too.
yeah,
Like,
and there's a lot of stuff that people don't see. Um, so like, here's another thing. Back when I used to manage in the CHL, there was some staff members like if you tagged them, they'd throw a fit.
oh my god,
Yeah.
yeah.
Why? Why? I don't understand
Yeah,
that.
I remember
If someone wants
that.
to, if someone wants to tag me, go for it.
Yeah.
Like people will tag me and they'll be like, "Hey," I'll be like, "What's up?" And that's it. Like I personally I don't care. I
No.
prefer that they do tag me because 9 times out of 10, if they don't tag me, I'm not going to see it because I don't go into management chat and then scroll up and read the day's stuff. Like
Oh, I
I'm
do
not going
that.
to do
I do
that.
that.
I don't
You're
doubt
a
those people.
psychopath, Buck.
You're nuts.
No,
Um,
I like seeing what the guys talk about sometimes because like okay, like I skim through it. I'm like, okay, what are they talking about? And it's like, oh, they're talking about like cows and chickens randomly. No, and I'm dead serious. Like
Yeah.
I've legit seen like
oh yeah.
conversations where they're legit talking about like cows and chickens and like working on a farm. And I'm like, okay, not necessary, but like I skim through it. And I'm like, okay. Oh, look at that, they're talking LG. Okay, what are they talking about? Like when they're
Yeah.
just chatting, like I don't give a fuck. But like when I do like to know what these guys like, what they talk about, what they think. Like it gives me an idea how to like respond to
Mhm.
them too, like and know who I can like mess around with and like who I can be like, haha, just got ya. Like you know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah, no, absolutely, I understand that. Just like for me though, like, I mean, I don't talk in Discord as much as you do.
No.
I'm answering site PMs and DMs like crazy.
Yes.
But like every now and then, I might go in management chat and talk with them and bullshit and stuff. But um, I like it's important as a staff member to be active in that aspect, which Buck, you do a great job at that. But like for me, yeah, I'll talk sometimes,
Yeah.
not all the time. Usually I'm just doing something else, but like if I'm tagged, I'm gonna respond. I'm not gonna ignore people, like we've seen previous staff do in the past.
Since IPM.
That's yeah, yeah, that
Like
that
that's my Discord like my slogan, but like y'all can reach out to me and if it's like something like if I'm at work and you're like, hey, I got a quick question, I'm like, send us that PM. Or if they just send me like this monster paragraph, I'm just like I like look at it, I like briefly read it, I'm just like, send us that PM, I'll answer there.
yep.
I just there's a chance
Well,
my
there's
other staff might know the answer to it too, and I'd rather
yeah,
them answer. Like I should be, as the commissioner, we are the last line of like people you should be going to talk to. Like first, like if you have questions, Vatty, you can definitely vouch for this. If you have a question as a manager or as a player, if you're a player, ask your manager first. They should know the answer. They've done the test. They should have know the rules. If the
Or
managers,
ask someone who's long tenured
yeah.
is probably your best
Or
bet.
what they could do is the manager, if they don't know, they can ask in the managers chat. There's tons of vet managers. I guarantee you one of them knows the answer. And they'll just be like, I'm pretty sure it's right, but a staff can
mm,
like verify it.
Mhm.
yeah,
But if after that, a lot of the times managers directly to me. It's like, you guys need to realize there's Roger, Johnny, Gamer, and Crooked that you're supposed to go to first. And I have no issues with you guys coming to me.
don't
But
forget the
like,
fast set.
no, I'm saying first. It's
Oh,
those four first. If they don't have an answer, they can either tell you one site PM, or two, they can
mm,
give you the answer because I trust all my staff to give you the right answers. I'm very good at training my staff because I've been there. I'm very thorough when it comes to training and making sure that you guys know the rules. If you guys don't and you quote something wrong, I correct you in the chat and I give you shit in staff chat.
mm,
I also want to say something for managers.
Yeah.
If you don't know something and no one's answering, or it's a weird part of the day where no one's around,
Go look
there
it
is
up.
something called LG CHL forums for the CHL guys, and Control F will be your friend.
Yes. There's Robux are also in the forums.
yeah. I
Af-
mean, I answer
yeah.
DM stuff like yes or no's and stuff, but like in depth stuff where
Yeah.
like everyone should like questions about like, hey, can I do a roster substitution? Yes, you can, right?
Yeah.
Or then you got guys coming in like with this 3-4 paragraph
Yeah.
explanation on a
Yo,
situation. It's
yo,
like,
my
hey, all
guy.
staff needs to
Yeah.
be in this,
Yeah, it's like, yo,
So
my guy can't make tonight's game, but this guy can make it. Is it legal for me to roster swap them, or do I need to do this and this and this? And it's like, yeah, just send us site PM and we'll get you an answer. Or you can go read the rule book and I'm sure you'll find your own answer. But yeah. But the best is when we get sent the code of conduct stuff. It's like, yo, is this a personal attack? Should I file this? I'm like, dude, you're literally asking the wrong person. I don't touch this. What
Yeah.
my opinion in really doesn't matter. I could be like, yeah, I personally think this is a personal attack. Send it in to Cuddy and Cuddy rejects it. It's like what I think and how Cuddy. That's why it's one person, because there's different views. So if one person does it, it should be like uniform. I get people have issues with Cuddy. If you understood how much stress and stuff he does too, you would
He
kind of
does
lay off. He does quite a bit.
well, and he also does a pretty good job of being consistent within the way
Yes.
the COC is written.
Yes.
And a lot of people don't understand that. Like, he rules off of how it is written. He
Current.
can't be like, oh, wow, I don't agree with that, so I'm going to change it. Can't do that.
Yeah, so
Right.
perfect example would be the Greg situation a few seasons
Yes.
ago and then the Grandpa Yager.
Yep.
I'm sure Greg's
And
got a
that
ban,
was-
or Yager got a ban, and somebody else got a suspension. They're just like, oh, well,
Yeah.
it's the same thing. It's like, yes, it's the same thing, but it's in different seasons. The COC is written differently those seasons. He
Yep.
rules it as it's written currently. Oh, but it was like, I don't care how it was written 3.5 years ago. Like, it's written like this now, so it's going to be ruled on it like this now.
One thing I really never understood is just why the hell people don't just control themselves. But
Self filters are non-existent in LG. Look at
Yeah.
look at.
well,
I'm gonna say look
It-
at Sniz. He literally just came back from a CO for personally attacking a player, and then was asked, "Oh well, why have you been away for so long?" And he's like, "Well, I called this player this, and bang, got hit again." It's like you literally could have
Yeah.
just been like, "I personally attacked a player." Nope, says exactly what he said and got hit again because he said it again.
or just say I got in trouble. Okay.
Like,
You know?
like I got banned for using COC words. Simple as that. Nope. Gotta repeat it. Sorry, man. And now he's gone again, and it's just like, how do you?
And that goes
how do
back
you
to the
not learn?
positivity thing.
Exactly. Like, just embrace. Like, that's where I find being a manager and just having a positive outlook on the league, and like how you want to run your team, is so critical.
Mhm.
So.
Yeah, I agree.
But yeah, it's starting to get long here, so I think it's good if we cut it off for this week. A lot was discussed. A lot of good things were discussed. Chat. I do want to touch one thing on the chat about the incentives. Notorious brought it up earlier. Shout out to Notorious Fat, Mem Cup winner for London in season 39. He said that guys who've been around for a long time in LG, like 25 seasons plus, should get platinum. I agree. 25 seasons is 8 years. Like
Uh-huh.
8 years. Like, that's a good number. Like, guys who've been around for that long and are still active should definitely get free plat. Like, it's only $50, but like 8 years of time, especially a lot of it. Most people that have been around for that long have done their jobs as managers over the years. They haven't just been players. Like, they've gone through pretty much probably everything except for staff. And even then, a lot of the long-term guys will be staff.
Mm.
So,
Yeah.
that fantastic idea. Just want to point that out.
Yep. Let's see. Laugh. Need to hear what you said about me before. Oh, Laugh basically just said, if I remember right, 2 different versions of you: Discord Laugh and Party Laugh.
Yeah.
Pretty much that.
Mhm.
And
If you want to hear exactly what we said, though, It's gonna be on YouTube. We're gonna post it on
Yep.
YouTube later once this is done and filmed and fully recorded, and then it's gonna be posted in the CHL forum, so you can go check it out there as well. Yeah. But yeah, essentially what Gazelle said, there's pretty much two forms of view. There's Party Laugh, there's Discord Laugh.
Yeah, and then another thing too, guys. Like if you guys have stuff you want us to talk about, you can DM any one of us three,
Yeah.
and we can add that as a topic and discuss it the next time too. That's basically what this show's for, is just to discuss things that get brought to us a lot.
Yeah.
Things that people DM us and stuff. Just something to kind of like open the book and discuss with you guys. So
But yeah, like it's literally just like a straight up podcast where we're sitting here, we're chatting, we talk about things like, for example, week 1 for the CHL starts this week, and then we're going on holiday break for Canada Day, 4th of July. So likely next weekend when we sit down again and chat again, it's likely that we talk about like, hey, what are we gonna do this weekend for 4th of July for you guys, because you guys are both American, and well, what are you gonna do for Canada Day? Like, things like that. Like, it's the whole point. We're just sitting around having a good time and chatting about things guys want to hear. It's different.
Yep.
It's different media for sure, because it's not completely LG oriented. Like it is, but that's not the main goal. The main goal is to sit around, just chat, give something for you guys to listen to. That's also why we added to YouTube, because I know a lot of people have YouTube Premium, and they can download the episode and they can just sit in their car on the way to work and listen to it. It's different, and I think that's something that I've been more comfortable with over the years doing, is just having talk shows. Fatty's been a part of them in the past. LG Overdrive was basically that, except it was not as well promoted and as high tech as it is now. Yeah, it was so much more. And I know I can say for Notorious, who's watched and critiqued the shit out of my Overdrive to get it to the point where it got really decent. I find this is probably a lot better. So
yeah, and
yeah,
other suggestions too, like to make things better. You guys hit us with that too. We're not going to get pissed. We're not going to get offended.
I already got told to slow down the spinning images. So
yeah, there you go. Yeah,
I'm
I
already.
think it takes a lot for anyone to offend any of us three.
Yeah.
Personally, I don't ever take anything personal. So,
No. I literally
if you guys have
sit here.
throw it out for us, we're more than happy to hear it.
I think we should throw our Discords up.
Infos?
Yeah.
I can add that next week to the outro screen. So
That's fine. That's fine. I just think it'd be a good idea. Because I really don't care if somebody hits me up. I know you guys are busy, but
yeah,
I really don't give a shit.
Yeah. But without
Yep.
further ado, I thank everyone for tuning in. We actually have quite a few viewers right now, and anyone who's followed my channel since, thank you. I appreciate it. Laugh again. Thank you for the sub. And we will catch you guys next week, either Friday night or Saturday afternoon. Have a good one, and we will see you later. Peace out.